Russian captains sometimes turn suddenly to see if anyone's behind them. We call it Crazy Ivan. The only thing you can do is go dead, shut everything down, and make like a hole in the water.
This is a rather infamous scene from the movie The Hunt for Red October. And as you heard, it's Crazy Ivan. They're following in the wake of a Russian submarine, and the commander all of a sudden just makes an unpredictable turn. Unpredictable. Crazy Ivan. Did you know that there are crazy Ivans in law enforcement? Yep, there are crazy Ivans in law enforcement. You probably already know, at least on an instinctive level, what I'm getting at. Whether or not their name is Ivan doesn't matter. Crazy Ivans in law enforcement are the worst of the worst. They're the ones who show up at a scene and they're not even making any effort whatsoever of being polite or professional. Everything is under threat of arrest, force, or violence. And they take over. There could be a half a dozen officers on scene. When the Crazy Ivan shows up, it turns into complete chaos. And the other officers almost always just stand by. They don't say anything. They don't do anything. They don't intervene in any way, shape, or form. And I'm going to talk about Crazy Ivans. I'm going to explain what Crazy Ivans are in law enforcement and why they're allowed to get away with the things that they get away with, and why the other officers just stand around with their thumbs up their ass. Let's take a look at an actual Crazy Ivan. This is an officer from the state of Georgia. And I'll make sure to link the original video in the description section.
This is a Shields of Shame exclusive.
Hey, either get her out of here or she's going to jail. I'm going to tell you that now. Either get her out of here or she's going to jail. One more word and your ass is going to jail too. That's all I'm going to tell you. One more damn word, your ass is going to jail too. You better get your people. Get your people. Your son is going to jail. Yeah, because dad's about to go to jail too.
He ain't no crime.
Hey, either get in the car or go upstairs. You stay out here yelling, you're going to jail. Hey, get your little one under control and take his ass to jail too. You better get him upstairs, I'm taking him to jail. If you get him upstairs, he's going to jail. If you go upstairs, you're going to jail. You talking all that smack up there, you ain't gonna come down here and do it, all right? I ain't got to tell you shit. You're under arrest. That's the only thing you need to know.
He's a minor.
He's also... I ain't doing nothing. I don't have to give you the paperwork.
He's a minor.
I don't care. He has the paperwork. Call David Hanna. You want me to call him for you? I don't care if you call David Hanna.
I scoured the internet looking for a photograph of a rollover accident that most closely resembled what the vehicle driven by an off-duty deputy sheriff looked like at the end of a long police chase where he had attempted to elude law enforcement because he was driving his personal vehicle and he was drunk, really drunk, and he made the decision that when law enforcement tried to stop him that he was going to run, and he did, and this is the result. He was killed in a rollover accident. I remember I was the secondary, not the primary vehicle in the pursuit, and when I stopped and I got out, and one of the first things I noticed on the road was a glob of gray and streaks of red, and then I realized I was looking at part of his brain. It was brain matter. The deputy who was killed was the Crazy Ivan, and I worked with him just enough times to know that I didn't want him at the scene. Maybe if things had turned completely brown, that was one thing. When you were dealing with people in an enforcement situation and everything was under control and in hand, you'd put the information over the radio on a 1044 that you were making it stop. He would show up and within 30 seconds he would have everybody so pissed off, and he was a liability, but he didn't get it. It was personality driven. You wonder, why didn't the sheriff rein him in? Well, I'm going to show you why. This story can be found in Rise of the Oathbreakers Part 2. So referring to the deputy, his erratic pre-crash behavior was tolerated by the county sheriff because that is who the sheriff used to kick in doors and serve high-risk search and arrest warrants, among other things. I know because that is what the county sheriff told me to my face. Not every agency has SWAT at their beck and call, he said. That is largely the reason why officers like the instigator are allowed to do what they do. They are the Crazy Ivans of their department, let off the leash, used to kick in doors and serve high-risk search and arrest warrants, to go places and do things that no one else wants to do. So what if they ruffle some feathers along the way? The other thing about these Crazy Ivans is, almost to an officer, they're intimidated by them. And they don't want to get on the bad side because they know they're going to get an ass chewing. And it's going to get ugly. So there's a fear factor, if you will. And that fear factor is compounded if the Crazy Ivan is a supervisor. And I can think of one more reason why the crazy Ivans are allowed to do what they do. And that is when there's multiple officers on the scene, they don't have to take the lead. The crazy Ivan takes the lead, and the other officers only have to follow in their wake. They don't have to make any decisions. And they love it because it's the easy way out. If something goes wrong, they just blame the crazy Ivan. Or will they? And does it matter? Because of the crazy Ivan, do you think they're going to get into any trouble? I just explained why they most likely will not. It's a convoluted system. But remember, it's a system that actually supports the worst of the worst, the crazy Ivans. So please, everyone, do me a favor. If in the course of your life you happen to encounter a crazy Ivan, don't challenge them. I'm not saying you have to just roll over 100%, but you've seen an example of the worst of the worst. You're not going to win. That's going to happen in court. Because these crazy Ivans, more than anything else, they crave violence. They live for it. It's why they went into law enforcement. So always, always, always exercise good judgment. The risk that they pose to life and limb, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it.